go ahead.
Mr. Doan, from what I understand, there were initially 6 companies that were identified that could have built this app. Is that correct? And who were the 6 companies?
Thank you for the question. I'm not aware of who the 6 companies were. I know of the 3 of them. One of them was Apple. The second one was Deloitte. And the other one was a hybrid solution that would use most of our existing coding and technology.
And that so-called hybrid solution was the GC Strategies one?
That ultimately became the GC Strategies one. Yes, it was.
Okay. So, sir, it seems the core point of contention comes down to, well, one of the core points of contention comes down to who chose GC Strategies. $54 million went through this company. It's a 2-person company working out of their basement. No in-house IT expertise whatsoever. Did very well financially off this contract. So everybody wants to know who actually made the choice to hire GC Strategies, and anybody who might have been responsible for that decision is telling us that they weren't involved. You have testified that you did not choose this company. However, you've also testified that you were presented with 2 models of service delivery. One of those, you say, was fully outsourced, and the other one was partially outsourced. And so you made the choice without knowing which company was associated with which bid. You made the choice to choose the partially outsourced as opposed to the fully outsourced solution. Is that your testimony essentially?
I chose a direction, and it was partially outsourced as actually staff augmentation. If I could clarify one part, GC Strategies did not receive $54 million. So I've heard numbers here at 9 million or 11 million. They did not receive. Okay,
54 million went through. Was spent on ArriveCAN, went through GC. But I want to just focus on the piece about the decision you made, right? So you were presented with a choice between a fully outsourced option and a partially outsourced option, and you gave the direction. You made the decision to say you want the partially outsourced option. Is that correct?
Made that decision.
Pardon me?
I made the decision to go to a model would use staff augmentation and our existing cloud and leverage existing code. I made that decision.
You made that decision, and you are telling us that you, at the time you made that decision, had no idea that there were specific companies associated with specific options. Like nobody mentioned that GC Strategies is presenting this option and Deloitte is presenting this option. You made that recommended technology direction in complete ignorance about which companies were behind which option. Is that what you're telling us?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That is not what I'm telling you. I would like to remind the committee that this was not a $54 million in March of 2020.
That's not my question, sir. That's not my question. Answer the question. You have an obligation to answer the question. That's part of the way this process works.
I am answering the question.
No, you're not. You're telling me that you were not ignorant of which companies were involved. So when you were presented with these 2 options, a fully outsourced option and a not fully outsourced option, you're telling me you knew at the time that Deloitte was behind one of them and GC Strategies was behind the other?
GC Strategies behind the other, and all the evidence I found will support what I just said.
Pardon me, can you repeat that, please?
I am saying that I was aware that one of them was Deloitte, and I was not aware that the other one's GC Strategies, and all the evidence I found supporting this decision around that time will support what I said. There are no mentions of GC Strategies.
So someone came to you and they said, we have the option of fully outsourcing to Deloitte, or we have the option of a partial outsourcing solution, but we're not going to tell you who the company involved is, and then you made the decision. Is that how it happened?
So about 10 days before this started, the World Health Organization declared a global pandemic.
Sir, not what we're talking about. Not what we're talking about at all. Could you answer my question?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is an important context. 5 days later, Canada closed its borders. 4 days later, we unprecedentedly closed the borders with the United States.
So you're already accused of lying to this committee. Could you? I think it's in your interest to be forthright and direct, and you have an obligation to be forthright and direct in any event. Is my description of events correct? Namely, that when presented with this choice, you were given either fully outsourced to Deloitte or this partially outsourced solution in which they didn't tell you what the company was involved, and you made the decision in the absence of that information. Is that what you're claiming?
Very quick answer, Mr. Dillon.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The decision wasn't partially outsourced. It's staff augmentation, and it was to build an app to replace a form. That was all it was. It was not a $54 million decision. We didn't know that simple app.
So you're not answering my question.
That is
at
our
all.
time,
and
gentlemen.
Mr. Chair, I would ask you to call the witness to order on this point. He has an obligation to answer.
Yeah, but that is our time. Perhaps on your next round we can get to that.